Hello, amazing people. Today we are installing our new Timbren suspension upgrade. It is the Timbren SES suspension enhancement system, and this one is specifically for the Ford F-250. They make them for all different trucks, sizes, RVs, mobile homes, motorhomes, all of that fun stuff. We're working with our friends Bob and Carrie over at Life Redesign. So we're going to do his truck and our truck. So in the box came 2 risers, and so this will just mount underneath of the truck. It just replaces the bump stop, the factory bump stop. So it should be as easy as just undoing the screws on the bump stop that we have installed from the factory, and then replacing it with this, and then this piece here just comes right up underneath of there and will look something like that. So right now I want to show you what our factory bump stops or that suspension looks like there, and so you can see the difference as to how much clearance I have when with the factory one versus the new one once we get it installed. So as you can see, you've got the factory bump stop, and then it hits this pad down here. So we're going to remove all of this here. It should come off, and that new one will just literally just mount right back up in there. We'll be able to screw it back in there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it looks like right now I have about 3.5 inches of clearance between the factory bump stop and the pad that's there. I could probably replace this without taking the tire off. I checked those bolts that are on there and they just came right off with a crescent wrench. Now again, mine's a 22, so it's not that old. You may have to do some WD-40 or something to loosen those bolts up. I've heard that that's usually the #1 problem, is just getting those bolts off there right. So it's the difference between the Dodge and the Ford. Dodge has that little triangle wedge.
So we're just going to slide this in and get that as tight as we can by hand. We'll come back and ratchet that in. And then from here, we're just going to take our other factory bolt and we're going to line that up. And we'll position that over here so it's perfectly centered to where we want it. And we'll just give it a couple of cranks down and make sure that's all within spec. And once we'll do that, we'll lower this side down. And it's the same procedure on the other side as it is on this side, so it's pretty simple install all around.
I didn't want to take the wheel off because it's kind of a pain in the butt. And so what we did was, in order to get the Timbren to fit in there right, we went on the back side of the bumper underneath the frame, and I jacked it up from here, which gave me the extra 1/2 inch to 1 inch space that I needed to get the Timbrens in there without taking the tire off.
All right, so now you pointed out something that I actually didn't pick up on, and that is...
So the Ford has the built-in extender already in there. So if you look at the original factory bump stop compared to the new one by Timbren, I mean, that's night and day difference.
That's much easier than having 2 separate pieces.
Yeah, and I mean, everything looks like it lines right up, so hopefully it goes on as easy as you said earlier.
Piece of cake.
Yep.
Especially when he's doing it and I'm standing by watching.
Well, you watch, I'll show you.
There you go.
So there you can kind of see how much space we ended up with.
There you go.
We're down to real business, guys.
Real business. Crank on that, Dean. Good job, buddy. Is that tight enough? Yep.
Hi.
Mom's doing it in while Dad's supervising
There you go.
it.
So it looks like I've got about an inch clearance between the Timbren and the frame. So a lot tighter on there than that factory. So I think that it's a winner. That's a wrap, folks. Not too bad. Took Bob and I about, what would you say, Bob? About half hour total, maybe 40 minutes total. A little bit longer on the Dodge just because the wheel well sits a little bit differently. So we had to kind of jack it up and then let the jack all the way down with the tire off. But it still took minimal time for though. And Dean did help.
That's such a bad thing in his pants.
I ripped my pants.
Oh yeah, on his knee.
Oh, on the knee. I thought nobody told me. But yeah, so all in all, Timbren, super easy to install. And I'll give you an update here after we do our first long haul, let you guys know what kind of ride difference we had. But I am going to imagine that we have a pretty good difference there. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you down the road.
Never stop exploring. And never stop doing so. And that's my life.